Fuck yeah, we're recording. I'm here, Andy Malfrana. This is a special edition of Drag the Lake. We have Ian Reiter from.
Stuck the landing, dude.
Yeah, dude, I fucking nailed it. I double checked beforehand and smooth, smooth intro. No one fucking noticed. Ian Reiter from Holy Coast slid into my DMs, and normally I've had a few people, and then it's funny. You when you slid into my DMs, you passed the first test of is your music on Spotify. You would be amazed how many people are like, check out my music. Also, it's really fucking hard to find, and we don't have a Spotify account, and even if you like it, it's actually like there's no way to tell people to go listen to it or anything like that.
Just the Google Drive.
Yeah. Dude, literally. Like I had someone hit me up and they're like, "Can you review my music?" And it was, I swear to, I clicked on it and it was like a voice memo from their fucking iPhone on a SoundCloud account. I go, "Maybe you want to hit a couple more reps before you ask people to like cuz that's a big thing we talk about is like there are some bands where it's like, yo, you need to be searchable. It's weird.
Right.
Is that a thing? Actually, you guys got a good band, Holy Coast, like a good band name, because you're still a small band and there's not like a shitload of things that's also that. Where did the name come from?
See, I'm gonna hit a cliche because
Please.
it came to me in a dream,
Dude.
and but not in a cool way. Like, so to really give a fucking long lecture of a history, because everybody in this band, we all have played together in like miscellaneous metalcore bands in like early high school, early 2000s, and then you break up and you form other bands, and they always just end up in these bands with these people anyway.
Sure.
So we dissolved the band that most of us were in together during COVID, and I went full fucking tilt, because it was quarantine, did a
Yeah.
little fucking bonkers, and I was like, we're doing a rebrand. We're fucking.
What were you before that?
It's a really bad band name. It fucking sucked.
Well, I really want to hear it.
Yeah, we were called Grubby Paws.
Oh yeah, Holy Coast is way better than that.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say this though, I've said it many times before on the pod. Like one of my favorite bands in the world was called Bomb the Music Industry, and I think that's a terrible name. So at the end of the day, if the music's good, but there are certain band names. I know a younger me. What would you say? Grubby Paws.
Grubby Paws. Yeah.
Yeah, that would a younger me would see that name and go, you guys can find me. I'm not gonna look for you. So.
Yeah. Well, that was the general consensus, and it was just one of those things because that band was, long story short, was started as like an acoustic indie solo thing for me, and it turned into a band with my friends. We dissolved it because it wasn't going anywhere, and then during quarantine, I was off work for at least 2 or 3 months, so I was going fucking nuts. But I had all this time to write music, and so I started writing new music. And it was kind of steering more a different direction. I'm like, let's just change the name. And they did the whole, kind of classic of like everybody sending out a list of the most fucking stupid possible band names ever.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I saw this on a billboard. I thought it was sick. I thought it was the universe speaking to me. No, but at that time, I was also keeping a dream journal because I can't remember my dreams worth of shit.
Yeah.
And I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning one time, fucking slammed my stupid thumbs on my phone, fell back asleep. I woke up back up in a couple hours later, and all it said was the Holy Coast.
Nice.
I was like, it's kind of sick. But then you gotta do that. But then you gotta do that thing of like, okay, I gotta look this up, make sure it's not fucking copywritten or like already taken. And the only band at that time was called The Holy Coast. So I was like, we're gonna go ahead and drop the. It also kind of sounds, with everything together, sounds kind of like the Holocaust.
I never even thought about that, but That's a good thing to make sure people don't associate your band with that.
Literally, the guy who recorded our first 2 EPs, he was the guy that pointed that out. He's like, "Yeah, it's a pretty good move."
Yeah, pretty
You
good.
guys did that.
Dude, it's funny. You're making me realize the only I'm sure you're familiar with my podcast, Panties in the Mouth.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the only name of something that clearly wasn't a name, unless you're like, there's probably a porno out there called it, but like, dude,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. Like, I was in a band in high school. I called it Zed's Dead. It's a reference to Pulp Fiction. And
Yeah.
then I form that, I do all the shit, and then I immediately find out there's an electronic band named Zed's Dead. And I was like, God damn it. And then though I did call a band Tune in Tokyo, which there wasn't a band called Tune in Tokyo, but there was shit called Tune in Tokyo. And then literally all my other podcasts, the Drag the Lake, it's an Amni Affliction song. I didn't realize that. No More Heroes, it's the name of a very popular video game. I completely forgot about that. So
Well, see, I was thinking like No More Heroes was like a Converge rip, and then obviously Drag the Lake, Keith Buckley lyrics. So
yeah, and that's why I like the name Drag the Lake, because the dudes who fucking know. So like,
dude, all right, I
yeah.
saw you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I feel like people who see that, they're like, "Wait, it's a middle of the fucking 20-year-old Every Time I Die song." I go, "Yeah, dude, listen to the pod." I wanted to ask you this up top, because this is my biggest thing. Because especially too, like, I feel like a lot of people watching this have may not have heard your band yet. Throw out what other bands would you like closely compare you guys to give people sort of context if they want to listen to the interview before checking out your band?
Oh, well, I would probably say it's kind of all over, but we're all fucking 30 to 40-year-old schlubs who, idolize 90s alternative music. So there's a lot of like Smashing Pumpkins. I'm, I don't think this, but we've been told Thrice quite a bit.
Mm.
But just anything kind of just fucking big and lush and fuzzy guitars,
Yeah, you have I was wondering, so are you guys, I know you were saying something about being in like the Christian metalcore scene. Do you guys consider yourself like a Christian band? Because dude, I was laughing the whole time. I don't know, like I was listening to your album today again, and the first half of it, for some reason, I kept thinking of that band Switchfoot. And that's not to say you guys sound like Switchfoot, but like I kept, for some reason, every song I was hearing in the back of my head, I was going, "We were meant to live for so much," because it had that
which
like,
rips.
yeah, which that song does rip, and like the hook. I'm not a big Switchfoot guy or whatever the fuck they're called guy, but like that song does fucking go. And you do have. That's why I was curious if you guys were like a Christian band, because you had that like, because I remember, I forget if it was like on your profile or you said it. You guys were like, you called yourselves shoegaze, which there are shoegaze elements, but I go, you guys are nowhere near depressing sounding as shoegaze. You have a much more, and I think that's why people give you like the Thrice, or I was thinking of Switchfoot,
Yeah.
because there is a more upbeat vibe to everything going on. Is that intentional, or is it just a result of the music you listen to?
It's just all the result of the music we listen to. Well, and it's kind of connected because, like I said before, like I grew up with everybody in this band. Like we've all known each other, especially our guitar players. There's 3 guitars in the band. Uh,
Hell yeah.
but Nick and Eric, they were in bands in high school together, like since the late '90s, and they were like in like a new metal band, like a Christian new metal band, because they all went to youth group together.
Yeah.
And then separately, I was in a Christian metalcore band called Settle the Sky that was kind of big on MySpace for a minute. Um, and they were all youth group kids. So it was a lot of like this kind of musical incestual where everyone's like, dude, because we're all trying to rebel playing music, but they're all still youth group kids. So it's a lot of like, dude, you hear fucking Zayo, or dude, you hear
Yeah.
fucking this. But then also on top of that, we're all old as shit. So we're all just listening to like, like old '90s stuff, like my, even shoegazy stuff like My Bloody Valentine. So that's really in the back of our heads as far as like Oh, I love that guitar sound. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot like a lot of big fuzzy tones, a lot of reverbs, a lot of atmospheric shit, but then also we're old metalcore kids too, so there's a little bit more up tempo. So you just kind of meld the worlds together and you just kind of get this.
Yeah, I was noticing that with it was interesting because there was a lot of stuff that sounded metalcore. Actually, a lot of stuff had like you guys had some cool palm muted shit that made me it sounded like it was like a two-step part of a hardcore song and shit like
Yeah.
that. But it was like fuzzy the whole time. So like it's kind of it's almost not sound wise, but structurally similar to how a lot of like modern some of the more intricate like Midwest emo bands,
Yeah.
they all sound like the Fall of Troy, but presented in a less like aggressive way.
That's a really good way to put it out. Yeah.
Dude, I was noticing I got really into because I like the Midwest emo shit,
Yeah.
but I don't listen to a lot of the more emotional stuff because I'm fucking 35 and I'm just listening to 20-year-olds being like, I'm so sad my fucking GameCube doesn't work anymore. And you're like, dude, I'm trying to pay rent. I ain't got time for this. So I listened to the more technical shit and I was like, this sounds like the Fall of Troy. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, what was I gonna ask you? Yeah, is that was it where so how many dudes are in the band? Like five?
It's 5. Yeah.
And what keys the thing I was noticing a lot when listening to your music, I don't know if you've ever heard of they're not popular, but they were a big deal for me back in the day. There's this like Queens band called Dalley's Gone Wrong. Or I think they're pronounced Daly's Gone Wrong. I'm not sure. But they were a band that they managed to take like emo, hardcore, screamo, and I hope everyone's sitting ska music and actually make it not sound horrendous. They were one of my favorite bands back in the day. And you guys reminded me of that because you are you're fusing together like so many different genres, but it doesn't sound forced. So like where does that come from? What's the writing process?
Uh Anymore, because we're all like, I'm a dad. 2 of the other dudes are dads. A lot of big boy jobs, so there's not a lot of like being able to get in the same room together. So a lot of times we're like just sitting at home, getting home from work, being bored as shit, going, yeah, fuck, and just picking up a guitar and just writing riffs, and then we have speaking of Google Drive earlier, Google Drive, where
Yeah.
we call it our riff locker,
Nice.
and so we'll text our group chat saying, hey, new addition to the riff locker, check it out, and then it's like presenting to like the fucking uh to the council, like, is this good for you,
Yeah.
and then we deliberate and go, this is sick, this is not so sick, and a lot of times we just Frankenstein shit, and
Yeah, you can hear that in the music. It's almost like how I'm trying to think. It's almost how a show like The Office is compared to, say, something like Rick and Morty, where The Office is like clearly a very collaborative effort, but some show like Rick and Morty has like one specific like vision in that, like like if you don't have, because I think the show now, a lot of people are saying it sucks because they got rid of that guy. I know he did some bad stuff, but I mean, the show's
oh
not as
yeah.
good, so get him back in there. No.
Ah!
But like with The Office, that would be a show that is like, you think Jim and Pam are the main characters, which they are, but it also wouldn't be it without everything going on there. So so you then have the Riff Locker, which I love that name.
Yeah.
Where do you guys go from there with then writing songs?
Just kind of hash it out, and then we schedule rehearsal time. Like dude, this is so completely opposite of how, I don't know how every other band operates nowadays, but like how I'm used to operating, which is you get in a fucking dirty ass garage or a sweaty ass basement, and you fucking pack in there and you just sit down there for 4 hours and you just piss each other off until something comes out.
Yeah.
So this is actually kind of new territory where we are a lot more prepared. So we like kind of book out, okay, this coming month, this Saturday, this Sunday, rehearsal time, and we just get together and we already have our things. We've listened to the ideas. We've kind of trimmed the fat a little bit, so it's got honestly a lot more efficient. So by the time we're actually in the room together, we're all kind of like knowing the direction already, and so it's a lot more natural.
Okay. Interesting. And what instrument do you play?
I sing and play guitar.
Oh, you sing and play guitar. Oh, okay. So what is fuck, what was I gonna ask? Sorry, my brain's all over 50 different fucking places. No, I was gonna say, what do you try? Is it tough being the singer and the guitarist? Like, is there a lot of pressure? Because I remember that when I played the drums in bands, and I would be like I brought lyrics occasionally to songs, but they would be so personal and stuff that I'd be so scared to do it. What's it like being the singer and actually like do you write the lyrics, and how is that bringing that to the writing process?
It's a lot easier now, which when we first started this band, we didn't have Nick or Andrew in yet, and Andrew plays drums. Uh and it was almost kind of like a studio project at first. And so uh I was the primary songwriter. I did everything back then,
Mm.
and I think it's easier for me to be a little bit more personal and kind of fucking show my emotional butthole to my friends
Oh
because
yeah.
we've known each other for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So, there's already that intimacy, and they already just kind of know how I'm wired, so it's not like a shock, you
Yeah.
know, that, this album ends with me crying at the end. Like, oh yeah, dude. But then adding actually Nick and Andrew in, Nick is actually a really good fucking singer too.
Okay.
And he's also he was in a front man on bands that me and Eric were in with him back in high school and later on. So like he's now contributed lyrics, and now he's contributing like songs that are like more finished ideas. And there's at least 3 of them on this album that were like front to back his lyrics, his riffs, and we just kind of worked around it, and I just learned it.
Yeah, that's sick. Let's go back to youth group, because I think
Fuck!
no, I
Damn it,
wanted to,
Dad! No.
you were hopefully, yeah, hopefully there wasn't anything with the priest there, so I'm not digging up anything risky. But no, I've talked about this before. I don't know if you listen to Drag the Lake or not, but
Yeah.
like Pat will go a little harder on religious shit, and I haven't had to do it in a while, but I will die on the hill of Christian metalcore fucking rips. Like there was something about being filled with the message of the Holy Spirit that made you like fucking make some good ass breakdowns. But I didn't, I just like the bands. Like I listened to what was the one? Gwen Stacy,
Yep. Played with them.
Devil Wears Prada, Under Oath. Well, they weren't really whatever. I'm not gonna get autistic about genres. I hate those people. Well, actually, they started out as black metal, then turned to screamo, and then it sort of shifted into metalcore. But anyway, god damn it, that's the downfall of music discourse, is autistic people picking genres and shit. It's crazy. But no, I just liked the bands because they were heavy and stuff. And then there, because I grew up in high school. I remember I got my Bad Religion shirt with the cross buster on it, and I thought I was so fucking cool. And dude, literally, like I would have these. I'm embarrassed to say it now, but I would have these moments where like, wait a minute, they're Christian, and I would have this like conflict in my head, being like, but they're not cool now. But no, like so you were in the shit. Where
Yeah.
does like going to how does like, because you listen to hardcore band, like if you listen to like any New York hardcore, you're like, oh yeah, you lived in a city infested with piss covered rats, like that's why that music's so aggressive. Where does the aggression come from when you're in the middle of youth group and you're like, oh, let's fucking do some drop D and scream and play some heavy ass breakdowns? Where does that come from?
Well, we are from Ohio, so pure. I think a lot of it is like pure Midwest dread, where
Mm.
whether you're a youth group kid or not, uh, there's just fucking just abysmal vibes everywhere.
I was mentioning, not to cut you off, I apologize.
You're good.
I was thinking about that when I realized Knocked Loose is from Kentucky.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'm like, dude, if the, it like, I was like, that makes so much sense why like some of the heaviest music comes from like the Midwest or down south or in those pockets where you're just like, yeah, you could be in a fucking poor ass town where, it feels desolate and shit. And you're like, oh yeah, I could see that translating into heavy riffs.
right. And not only that, but like a lot of uh the bandmates that I had back then, who they were the ones that it's funny. They were all in youth group. I was the fucking pretentious atheist in high school,
Sick.
and when I was so sick,
Yeah, so
uh,
sick. I'm in ninth grade. I know all the secrets of the universe. I'm the smartest guy here. Nothing happens when we die. I'm so fucking smart.
but I was like skateboarding with them and all that stuff, so I always hung around with them, and they were always good dudes. And I got into that band. I kind of snuck in the back door. Pause. Uh, because they just knew me and knew we all played in different bands together, and just knowing those guys, they're I'm not going to say this for every youth group kid, but their home lives were not sick. Like
That's such a funny way to put it.
right,
Their home life was not super chill.
was not the most chill, and even
Yeah,
the what you would intend would be like the most passive way, which would
yeah,
be just like that real passive aggression, like very what's the word I'm looking for? Just a lot of things being withheld from them. And
sure.
so when you're a kid on a short leash and we're all listening to punk rock music, we're all skateboarding at the rec center. They're seeing the world and going, "Yo, this song's cool. I love this fucking band." But their parents are
Yeah,
like, "That fucking sucks. Don't do that." Because of your God. And so there's a lot of I was looking for repression. And
yeah.
so you're gurgling all that up, and then shout out fucking Tooth and Nail Records.
Mm,
Shout out fucking Face Down Records, late
mm,
90s, early 2000s, because all these kids started playing in bands.
yeah,
Zayo were all youth group kids, Sleeping Giant, like Prada, and they're from
yeah.
less than 2 hours south of me.
Okay.
So, uh, so there's just a lot of just repression and wanting to kind of go against the grain, but you're also like, also my mom like makes us pizza rolls sometimes, so like I just don't, like
Yeah.
you don't want to fucking ruin your like home life either, so you got to let it out somewhere. So
I never even considered. Yeah, you know what? That's a really good point because it was funny. Like I grew up going to church, but I got confirmed, and then my family lost any energy to actually like go to church anymore. We were just trying to like fucking do what we had to do to be cool with God, and then we ticked off all the boxes, and we're like, we don't really want to do this anymore. But then my parents they weren't strict, but they also weren't like super loose. So I was in that. So I was able to listen to like whatever music I could. I'm listening to like Every Time I Die in ninth grade. I'm listening to
yeah,
like it's like, dude, I'm in like middle school or like ninth grade listening to like The Casualties and Every Time I Die and stuff like
same
that.
dude.
So when I found The Devil Wears Prada, I go, oh, this is just another cool heavy band. But if you're in youth group and you're living like really oppressed, and then you hear, dude, can you imagine that loophole too, where your parents are like, "This is the devil's music," and you're like, "Actually,
I've seen it played out so much, dude.
really? Tell me about that."
Oh, okay. So, uh, in Settle the Sky, they were kind of like, I can't believe I'm saying this on here. Uh, we were like a bigger MySpace band, and we did a lot of touring back from like 2006 to 2010.
Okay.
And
Wait, and that was a band you were in?
yeah,
Okay. Well, I'm gonna listen to their EP later then.
oh yeah, that was the OG.
Hell yeah.
Which side note, the ending breakdown to the song Cheyenne on that first EP, Attack Attack ripped off that riff for the intro of Stick Stickly.
Oh, really? Wait,
It's a
which EP? Oh, yeah, I got it right here. Okay. All
Now that
right.
we're waiting, yeah.
And I was big into, oh, by the way, don't forget your story. But I remember, dude, I remember saying the dumbest thing about Attack Attack because I found out they weren't a Christian band, but a lot of them were Christian and shit like that. And I go, they're not Christian. I saw them smoking cigarettes in one of their behind the scenes videos, and people were like, "What?" And when I was in college, I was like, "You can't be Christian and smoke cigarettes," and like I just made that up in my head. I was like,
I, well, they're also from Columbus, so that's why we always make the joke that they ripped us off.
yeah.
We were a band first, dude. REP came out first.
Well, I'm gonna have to listen to that because I was big into that album and shit. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So
you're all good. We're dude, we are mad ADHD and it fucking rocks.
yeah, sorry. I don't ever get to talk to anyone about Christian metalcore from the
All
MySpace
right,
ages. So I have a lot of thoughts no one's ever
dude,
fucking heard before.
this is this is a safe space.
This is a safe space, yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny because what sort of derailed me was your talk about I saw them smoking in a behind the scenes thing. I'm like, we literally had a fan at a show return a shirt
Yeah.
to our merch table because they saw me smoking outside.
Oh, that's crazy. Were you always the like atheist one? Was that like a weird?
No.
No. Okay.
So I did have a little bit of a, you know, I wouldn't say I was saved because I wouldn't even consider myself a Christian now, but it really kind of opened the door for me to stop being a fucking atheist dickhead
Yeah.
and to kind of go like, you know what, honestly, this does resonate with me a lot because I am at the end of the day a fucking teddy bear, and I just want to do good and do what, kindness to everybody. So like the nice parts of it were like, oh, this really actually is kind of sick, and being able to tour and like meet fucking kids and that sounds bad, but
Yeah. I was
but
gonna say,
yeah,
considering the genre, you should clarify what that means.
yes,
Were you also
meeting
selling?
fans. I just
Were
hate
you
saying fans.
were you also selling laptops for $800?
Oh, Johnny Craig, I almost fought him. Anyway, so
Oh, that would have been. I saw him at Warped Tour. He's tiny. I mean,
oh,
like,
and I'm 6'4", so he
yeah,
was
he's very talented. I'm a fan, but he's a tiny guy. And there's
he's a real
probably, from what I've heard, there's probably a lot of things to want to fight him over.
real piece of shit. But no, but you would just meet like fans or like just supporters,
Yes.
who were genuinely like going through shit, and they really gave a fuck about what you were doing, and it kind of it kind of melted my cold atheist heart, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is actually kind of really cool. In fact, I mean, after that band broke up, we started another Christian metalcore band called Convictions, and they're still a band now. I mean, the only guy left in there that from my era is the drummer, but so it was at least enough for me to be like, wow, this is actually kind of fucking cool.
Yeah.
However, as you would probably anticipate, that era also had a lot of fucking weird.
Yeah. I
Just
can
like,
imagine.
were you obviously familiar with the Cornerstone Festival at all?
Yeah. Yeah. I watched that one Devil Wears Prada video of them playing Texas is South about 1,000 times.
2006, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, well, so, or that might have been '05. Anyway, autism. But uh, you would have like these ideas of what it would be like. Of like
Yeah.
you're like in this Christian industry, and you're thinking everything's gonna be super fucking preachy and shitty, and there's a lot of that. But honestly, it's all this. They just want fucking scratch. They really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like I remember we were staying at our van out at the campsite, and I can't remember fucking what their name was. You remember the band Catherine?
No.
Okay, I think it might have been Catherine. It's one of those bands.
Yeah.
One of their dudes was doing coke off their fucking like a guitar case, and so you're just kind of like,
Yeah.
yo, this is how what?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of this.
Unfortunately, that's just getting deeper into any industry where it's like, dude, I've had it a few too many times in comedy where you come up listening to podcasts and you learn, you know someone as one person and then you meet them backstage or whatever, and you're like, oh man. Like
Whoa!
you're like, ah, you being a cool dude really mattered to me. That fucking sucks. No,
Turns
that's
out he was even cooler.
yeah. No, that's the fucking worst. So I get that from the context of the band shit, where especially too if you're coming from the standpoint of like, yo, this is kind of cool. Let's get on board with this. And you're like, oh, none of you guys are doing this? What the fuck? Yeah. But what were we talking about before I got super ADD about attack smoking cigarettes?
Just kind of what it was like, in that time.
Oh yeah, like in the youth group vibe and stuff like that, and then like finding this music. Oh, that's what I was saying too, where it's like you'd find a band like Devil Wears Prada, and then the people would be like, no, that's not. And you're like, well, actually, listen to the lyrics. Did you guys do a bunch? Did you ever get to do Warped Tour back in the day?
No, no.
No.
Because a lot of times, anytime, so you're gonna see this in a lot of my band's histories, like different bands I've been in, where like we were always that band that was like right there,
Yeah.
and we would always just fall apart right before that point.
Really.
Or like we were like the band that was the band that got fucking huge. We were their favorite local band. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I mean this sincerely. So Nick and Eric's early 2000s band used to play in the Dayton area all the time, and the Prada dudes were like their biggest fans. Like especially Daniel, who R.I.P. Bless up.
Yeah.
He was like a super fan of that band and would follow them around. And like my old high school bands, the band Citizen,
Yeah.
they're from Toledo.
You're
And
in Citizen?
no, I wasn't in Citizen. I was the band people of Citizen's favorite local band when they were 13.
Okay.
So that's where my connection is at. We're like,
Yeah.
anytime like, oh, did you ever play Warped Tour? We're like, we could have, but it was just always just not quite there. And so I always just, because it is true.
Well, so that's an interesting conversation. What is it? How do I ask this? So you were saying you in a lot of your bands you were in, you were at that point of like right before, I don't know, for lack of a better word, being like legitimate. Not saying the band's bad, but from a business,
it.
What?
Making it.
Yeah, what's that like? What kind of place are you like right before quote unquote making it, where you're just like having no money, doing shitty tours and stuff, and then like what's the stuff like on the horizon of like, dude, if this just happens, what are those kind of things like you're looking for?
Well, a lot of what those instances were we would get on a real sick tour. Like one of my first tours with Settle the Sky was with Vanna.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so like really having like those kind of connections and getting those types of management. So you start going, okay, we're starting to cook a little bit.
Yeah, you're like, I'm in the ballpark of all this real shit.
Yeah, and we're having record labels, talking like even when Settle the Sky broke up and we started Convictions, we were already talking to some sub label of Century Media. And so you're like, you see the things on the horizon, and then what inevitably happened was just couldn't keep it together. You just couldn't. It just would fall apart for one reason or another, interpersonal shit or
Yeah.
poor
Not to get
timing.
not to get too gossipy or anything, but what are some of those things that like get in the way of that kind of shit?
Immaturity, if I'm
Yeah.
being absolutely 100, is like really. So the demise of Settle the Sky uh, was really, there was like this much hasn't changed now I'm thinking about it, where you're like, I really am passionate about this music that we're writing, but
Mm-hmm.
I also want to make this a living.
Yeah.
So even back in like 2008, 2009, we were like, maybe we have to change the sound a little bit to get a bigger appeal so we can start doing cool tours. And once you start, having to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like almost infect the creative process
Yeah.
with this idea of it has to fit a mold. It has to cater. What kind of sick breakdowns do you guys like? Whereas the original formula was, I was just listening to fucking Zayo's fucking third record in my car, and I want to write something like that. Like that's,
Yeah.
and I think that authenticity gets lost, and so then you lose that connection, and you're trying to just create shit that you don't even really like.
Mm.
And then when you lose the heart of it, y'all just start hating each other. And then
Yeah.
the problem is what I think a lot of people forget. Even those bands like Devil Wears Prada, Attack Attack, even Bring Me the Horizon when they first started, they're kids. They're fucking 19-year-old, 20-year-olds. And even, when I was a 23-year-old, I'm still an immature, kid.
Mm-hmm.
And you're attempting to like make these life-altering decisions. No, dude, this is what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
Well, now what if we actually just started sounding a little bit more like Anne Berlin? Like, like, and so you just couldn't, it just
It's got to be tough.
well,
It's got to be tough too, because um, I remember seeing it with there's got to be shit like I was reading it. There's this really good book that if anyone was into like pop punk and emo and punk rock in the early 2000s, it's called Sellout. And it was basically when like Nirvana gets popular, and the short version is Nirvana gets popular, and then people are done with grunge. So then Green Day becomes a really popular band, and then that turns into this like major label feeding frenzy of just like, let's get any pop punk emo band we can fucking find. So bands like Thursday, Taking Back Sunday, all great bands. Thursday, Taking Back Sunday, Jimmy Eat World, Against Me. They all get these like major label contracts and stuff like that. And it's funny thinking about those bands because like that was probably like fucking nuts. And there was probably a similar thing with the like Christian metalcore wave that was going on where you're like,
yep,
it's gonna be like this forever.
right.
And then it's like, and then you see all those bands, luckily for them, the whole like 20-year anniversary has sort of, and like now everyone our age has money. So there's been
Furnace Fest, let's go.
Dude, exactly. Which shout out to Furnace Fest for being like a way better Warped Tour. No, dude, I was literally watching video. Dude, I got you remember He Is Legend?
I fucking love that band.
Yeah, dude, I fucking got reminded. I was like, oh yeah, I Am Hollywood's one of the greatest songs ever written. And I was like, let me see if there's good live foot. And I was like, oh, Furnace Fest. Shout out fucking Furnace Fest.
I was there for that.
Oh, really?
At that Furnace Fest that they played, yeah.
That's so fucking sick. Yeah, dude, He Is Legend, not to get sidetracked for the 80th time, but He Is Legend was a band that I go, yo, what was wrong with me? Why did because I got I Am Hollywood, and then I go, that's enough. And then I was like, I'll never listen. I will never, but I never checked out any of their other stuff. And literally in the past, literally a couple weeks ago, I was like, what's He Is Legend up to? Brother, they don't miss. Not one album. They don't miss.
Nope.
But no, the thing I was getting at before, I can imagine like dude, the decision-making process in that is probably so weird because you're like, it's gonna be a party forever, and you don't know when the fall off is. So I gotta imagine all that stuff circling around your head, right? When you're trying to figure out the direction with the band.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm so glad to be making music the way that we're making it now, because it's just genuinely like shit that we really love to do. And
Sure.
now that fucking technology is what it is today, it's so much easier to just kind of leak your music into the ether, so to speak. So that's kind of enough. But
Yeah.
back then, especially like Apex, like 2007, 2008, like Rise Records, everything that they were putting out, even Victory Records for a while had just, like Hall of Fame signings of like all
Yeah.
these bands. It was kind of almost like our version of, I think you almost alluded to this earlier, like the kind of 90s explosion where the
Yeah.
record execs were like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what's your name? Gin Blossoms? I don't give a fuck. You sound like that guy. Get in here and get all this money.
Yeah, dude, it was when that like early 2000s blow up was nuts because I remember like fucking when alternative press. Did you ever read alternative press?
We were in AP.
Really?
Settle the
Then I
Sky was. Yeah.
probably read your album review in there.
No, it was just it was our advertisement from our record label that we were on at the time.
That's
You know,
so cool.
so they promoted the at your local Hot Topic.
Dude, I remember seeing an issue of alternative press. I don't even know if there's a physical version like right now, but like I remember a couple years ago seeing a physical version and seeing that like they didn't have a spine anymore. It was like it basically like the magazine just looks like a comic book now, and I go like, oh no, it's like it's done. It made me like because that
Man,
was
that's
like
sad, man.
yeah, man, that was like a legit publication, man. I remember I would get every fucking issue for a couple years at one point. But yeah, the wave of all that shit was pretty fucking big. And I got to imagine that's like a hard terrain to travel to like know what to do. I was thinking about this actually cuz what I know you guys are still in like the early stages and you said you all got like, you're still you got the families and the jobs and stuff. So you're not necessarily worried about the money yet, but like how has like because this part of it always fascinates me. Like, how has the money situation for bands shifted over time? Like, what was it like? Because I've heard people joke that a lot of bands now, they're like, oh yeah, a lot of these bands are T-shirt companies that play a couple songs. What has like, what has the money making? How has the money making process shifted for bands over the years?
Well, I caught the wave early enough on back in the 2000s era where money, because we were on a label at the time, and label money probably hit different if it's with an actually good label.
Sure.
But our label, we were actually owed quite a bit of money that turned out going into being invested in a batting cage in our records exec's office.
Wait, what?
That's a long story.
Yeah.
But long story short is you used to be able to talk, like rely on your label to like, hey, we're gonna pay for advertising. Hey, here's some money. Like if you had an issue on the road, here's a daily per diem. And then you would also we were selling physical CDs that were traced by SoundScan,
Mm.
which was something you had to turn into your label to then coincide with record sales for your album.
Oh, okay. I
And
didn't.
so
I always wondered about that. I was like, do they? Because I would always go see smaller bands, and I was like, do they count these? Does the album? Okay, that's really interesting.
if they do what they're supposed to do, which is
Yeah,
keep record of everything, half the time we didn't fucking do.
yeah, yeah.
We're just like, you want to buy a CD, please, $5. I don't give a fuck. Have it.
They're like, how much
But
money do you have? Just take it.
there's been so many times, dude. I'm like, fuck it. Here you
Oh,
go.
dude, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been buying a T-shirt, and they told me the price, and I was like, and they were like, $5 cheaper. I'm like, oh,
I'm so special.
now I really want that shirt.
Yeah.
So wait, you would? Oh, go on, go on.
no, so that's the world I came from. That's all dead now because no
Yeah,
one gives a flying fuck about record sales. No one gives a
yeah,
flying fuck about. I mean, there's like a little bit of like a nostalgia resurgence where like people are wanting to buy physical stuff, but it's nowhere near what it was. And so you have to rely on uh unfortunately like just like online merch, like here's a new shirt design, please do this so I can pay for studio time.
yeah.
Or
That's why I always joke with Pat because he's got this like weird rule in his head where you're like new bands. He's like, you can't sell more shirts than songs. I go, dude, I think that's where they make so much of their money.
that's
And
the
it's
only way.
yeah, yeah. I was like, I think that's where they're making money because it's like, dude, to this day, fucking every time I die, they've been broken up for like 3 years, and I
Yeah.
think every 4 months they have a new merch drop still. And it's like, all right, it's getting to the point where I'm gonna need a reunion or something. Like, you can't. You're selling so much merch, and you haven't been a band for fucking 3 years.
Listen, man, Keith's got to pay his fucking cable bill.
Oh, I don't fault
Yeah.
them, but at the same time, it's just different because they're literally like easily. I'm probably my favorite band. That's where I get autistic, where it's like, well, if we're talking rap, it's Run the Jewel, but like top 5 easy. So I'm just like, all right, dude, I can't keep buying all this merch. You got to play a show.
You gotta give me a little something here, and that's sort of where you have to like now get creative as a musician, because it's a whole different product consumer demographic,
Yeah,
where you're even putting that out of like, okay, man, that's a pretty cool sick design, but we're at this point you're gonna have to at least do some song and dance here.
yeah.
Give me a B-sides
Give
fucking
me,
release or something.
yeah, give me like 4 songs that didn't make the cut or something,
Yeah,
man. It's
satiate, please.
And then on top of that, that's like the equation I'm trying to fucking crack on this shit, because that, like, I have this thing in my head where I'm just like, I'm such a fan of this shit. And it drives me nuts when I hear like, do you know, I don't know how much you're into like hardcore and shit, but have you heard of this band Big Ass Truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, their lead singer. Well, I don't know who runs their Twitter. I'm assuming it's their lead singer. I don't know why. I'm just
Usually the
assuming.
case.
Yeah, and they apparently somewhat, dude. Music fans are so funny because they're in like the more hipstery, like, and not genre hardcore, but just literally like hardcore hipstery fans. Their world is teeny tiny. So like they look at a band like Big Ass Truck, and I saw people tweeting at them. They're just following this gimmick to further their career. And the lead singer had the best fucking tweet where he retweets it and he goes, "What career?" He's like, "I put my tickets to Sound and Fury on Afterpay. Fuck you, dude." And yeah. So like I just have this thing in me where I just go like, brother, if you're getting 6-digit monthly listeners, like, why are you like, I don't know how much Big Ass Truck is getting, but it is a thing to me where it's like, if you're getting 6-digit monthly listens on Spotify, like, this should be paying for a decent amount of your life. And I don't know. But then there's these fans, like I said before, who are these like super duper hipsters, where going back to that Sellout book, it was like, dude, I remember Green Day, they got signed to Lookout Records, and people were being like, "You fucking sellouts." And it's like,
Yeah.
the fans aren't helping the situation.
No.
Is that a weird code to crack in the modern age of like even contemplating about making money?
See, I wasn't going to talk about this, but now I am more than inspired to talk about it now, because this is
Please.
actually pretty recent. Because it's been so fucking weird, dude. It's been because we're all old heads, right? We're just used to this old traditional way where you would fucking write some tunes, go fucking work your shitty job, go to the recording studio, put it to tape, and then play shows or just try to release it everywhere to get people to give a fuck about your band.
Yeah.
But now, to do that, everything is so oversaturated. Now everybody's in a band and everybody's got a product to sell you.
Sure.
And so the conventional ways of doing it are not really yielding results, because even you made the mention of like, if you're making like a 6-digit figure on your streaming platforms, I know it should be common knowledge now that Spotify pays 0.00000001 per
Yeah.
stream. So even if you're making like even to have a decent following, you're making $200 a month.
Yeah, I did the math. I think I think it was like, I think you're making about $4,000 a month if you get 1 million listeners off Spotify.
And good luck getting that point.
Yeah.
Because then it's a rigged game, because now you have corporations who are like, they're desperate.
Yeah. And it's tough too, because like every fucking book I read or documentary I watch about the music industry, you then also have like it's why I give props to a lot of people in the hardcore scene and the punk scene with the DIY ethic, where like you get all like it. I don't know what it is about music, but the business end of it. Because let's be real, whenever it's like when you have something artistic, if you want to monetize it, you have to have someone who knows how to like make money off of that.
Right.
But the problem is, and music's one of the worst industries for it. The money making element is like extra sleazy and extra slimy.
It's
And
gross,
then on
man.
top of that, everyone like they're getting these like mainstream artists into these like insane contracts. And then I don't know if you've been looking into any of like the Justin Bieber shit. There's like they're trying to do like character assassination on him to make you think. Because dude, they were literally this is getting a little more. This is gonna be no more heroes real quick. This is getting a little more conspiratorial. But no, I was watching a thing where there's like credible evidence that like the label or the people who are like trying to get Justin Bieber to like behave are sending they're actually sending paparazzi to harass him. And it's like, yeah, that's the business end of the music industry. That's an
Because,
extreme example,
but
but
inherently, the core there is the unfortunate truth where clicks and headlines in
yeah,
any capacity are going to equate to more revenue as
yeah.
far as social media and streaming services. So the thing I was thinking about was obviously I slid in your DMs to be like, "Hey, Big Red,
Yeah.
want to talk about my
You want to
solo band?
you want to get that crazy drag the lake bump, dude.
I'm trying to get that trying to get crazy bump, dude."
You're
No,
like, dude,
to
you're
people,
like, dude, if we get 7 more streams this month, we'll be able to all pay our rent. That's why you wanted to come on Track the Lake.
no, because I know you because I I'm a fan first and foremost, but I also respect the fuck out of your opinion because we're very similar,
Oh, thank
especially
you, man.
just sort of like the demographic that we came from, and so I'm just
Yeah.
like, so I know that like anybody who watches this or stumbles upon this, they're the type of people I know who would give a fuck about
Mm,
the band. So that's what I was a real big motivator why I messaged you. But in the spirit of trying to do things different now, because if I look at the history of my life as a musician, I've been playing in bands since I was 12.
yeah.
So, and I'm 36. So it's been a minute. And I have released at least 7 full-length albums, numerous EPs for fucking what? And unfortunately, now the album is now being told dead. It's dead now.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, if you release an album now, people are going to listen to the first couple songs and then it just kind of falls apart. And so you gotta go about it differently now, which that's sort of what we're doing with this album. So I'm like, we're releasing it one track at a time every Friday.
Mhm.
New song come out tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
But it's because we're like trying to make it a more interesting way of like you're looking forward to something.
Yeah.
We made a video series on our YouTube channel, you know, uh, of behind the scenes, just us talking about every song individually.
Yeah.
And then I'm like now going into podcasts because I'm like, in order for us to survive in any capacity as a just a to be wanting to do it creatively, make enough money where it's like, oh, it's still nice to do, and also this little kickback is a little light. That's all we're kind of aiming for,
Yeah.
and so we're trying to go. I'm messaging podcasts. I've been on Robbie Goodwin and Dalton Pruitt and Crackamico's podcast, and
Oh, sick. Nice.
trying to go. I'm hopping into comedy podcasts. And I'm trying to do different avenues. Just do fucking different.
Well, dude, it works. Like shout out to the gentlemen who run the Hard Lore podcast. I listened to that because someone was on it that I liked, and then I just started listening to the pod, and that's how I started to listen to like Harm's Way and God's Hate and shit like that.
Right.
Is I liked the podcast, and I was like, what bands are these guys in?
Right. So that was now that's where my thinking's at. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the name of this podcast because no free promotion. Fuck them. We I sneakily submitted to their podcast because they just do like demo reviews of like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
you got a new song, let's hear it, we'll review it on the pod. And they have kind of a lot of clout in the Mr. Cool Guy
Yeah.
corners of the hardcore scene. And I, sent them an email kind of similar to what I sent you. Of like, hey man, here's a private link to our whole fucking album. You don't have to listen to it, all of it, but here's something that we're doing. If you want to just grab a song off of that, that was sort of the whole idea.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, howdy, did they rip my fucking band's asshole wide open because they were doing kind of like what a lot of those comment sections are doing. It's not enough, where it's not. Why don't you just stop trying to do stupid gay shit like this and then just pick up your fucking guitar and riff and let
Yeah.
that be the thing? Because I've been doing it for 20 plus fucking years,
Yeah.
and it's not working now. You have to do it differently.
Yeah, no, it's weird. And then on top of that, like I noticed this is the I had this realization because I'm on TikTok way too fucking much.
Same,
And it's
dude.
just, dude, it's like programming it's programming kids to be like marketing departments. And it's like reprogramming
Yeah.
dude, but no, I thought of this when you mentioned like them ripping you a new one because dude, don't get me wrong. Like I've done music reviews. Like I'll go in like when it's necessary. Like
Yeah.
I was watching. I got a lot of like when Sleep Token put that album out. They annoy the fuck out of me. That's my
Right.
personal preference.
Same.
They annoy the fuck out of me because of what they represent. So I'm gonna be a nasty fucker when talking about them. But like but like if it's just a band that's not that big or that I don't fuck with, it's not that like, oh, their existence isn't hurting music.
Right.
It's like I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna be an adult and just go like, yeah, that's not for me. But it's because the way that like social media is reprogramming people is they go like, what'll get views, what'll get clicks. Like I try to do shit where I go like when I'm doing Big Red in the morning, I talk about gay ass news stuff, but I'm trying to come from a standpoint of like, this is fucked up. Let's talk about it and figure out what's wrong and how we can fix it. Drag the Lake. I try to go about Drag the Lake being like, yo, what's good music? Let's promote it. Yada yada yada. No More Heroes. Well, No More Heroes is just
Tinfoil hat.
Well, some of it's tinfoil hat. We kind of we weave in and out because we're talking about like MMA right now, and it's not it's turned into a podcast of just like what's cool shit we like,
and dissecting it a little bit.
Yeah, fucking Big Red in the morning shifted to more of my tinfoil hat. I had dudes. I had my buddy Austin on. We were talking about satanic pedophile cults. It's a fun time over there.
Oh, yeah.
But either way, it's like, but like a lot of people. It's so funny because like, dude, YouTube and all this shit was supposed to change the internet and all this, and it's like, dude, you're all just turning into execs that would work at ABC or some shit like that.
That's what blew me away was their critique was not on the music. It was just, you're doing it wrong,
which is a hilarious thing to say when it comes to music.
Exactly. And so you're just kind of like, you run into those things, and which is anticipated, you're going to have your Mr. Cool Guys and whatever, but it just sort of like hit the point home in my mind's eye going like, this is such a different world now, man. Like just to be able to be a musician, it's such a strange wasteland to try and navigate, but you also get to do real cool shit, like hang out with Big Red,
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, and it's like, it is cooler too because I feel like it's more accommodating for different type of lifestyles where it's like you can still feel like you're participating and like being creative and writing music and doing all cool shit like that, and then you could still fucking be a present father and things like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not. There's like some benefits. There's some negatives. I think. Yeah, I don't know. I would say it's not. It's not we're not going to figure it out at the end of this interview, but I think like I don't know what it is exactly. I think maybe people need to. Well, I know the one thing that always gets me is like Like, I remember when Knock Loose got on Jimmy Kimmel, and
Yeah.
everyone like responded to that like it was super validating. I go, okay, so Jimmy Kimmel sucks ass every day of my life, but when Knock Loose gets on it, now it's like that's a big deal. People need, and it's the same thing when like be like, can you believe the Grammys that picks bullshit every single fucking year picked bullshit again this year? And it's like, brother, I watched them give the Grammy to Macklemore over Kendrick when Good Kid, Mad City came out. When Good Kid, Mad City came out. That's when I stopped giving a shit. People give too much of a shit because you know what the problem is? Not to just rant. People are no. The problem is, and I say this as like because I'm more locked into the fans' perspective because I am a fan of all this shit. People are more locked into the storybook aspect of music, so they hold on to those old school things that would provide validation. And you have to look at that and go, those old school things that provided validation were what's wrong with the music industry. You know what I mean? Like the big record labels fucking putting people in these like contracts where they're basically locked in like slaves and shit like that. All that crazy shit. The fucking just all the extra bullshit. And people are trying to like hold on to something that they just need to let die. And you need to realize we need to shift into a new space. And they need to stop. There's also, I don't know. There's a whole, I don't want to get political. There's a whole bunch of goddamn commies in there. And they just get mad. They get mad at the idea of a band making money. God forbid. God forbid you guys who are doing all the fucking hard shit. God forbid you make a couple bucks.
Give this rock band a paycheck.
Yes, dude. Yes. Now, fuck that guy. He's on the Epstein list. Yeah. But yeah, man. Let them know all your shit. We're at the hour. I think it's a good time. This is a good fucking interview. Definitely hit me up whenever you guys got new music and shit like that. We'll talk some more. Let the people know where to find you guys and what you're doing and the release thing you were telling me about and all that shit.
Oh yeah. So there's a lot rolling out here. So this is our 5th week in releasing. We're releasing our new album called Such Strange Ghosts, track by track every Friday. This is our week 5, so this is track 5 coming out tomorrow. Also on our YouTube channel at Holy Coast Official. We're also doing a in tandem kind of video series with that. We're on Instagram at Holy Coast Band. We are on Twitter, but being in a band on Twitter is practically non-existent. So same tag there. And then we're on all streaming services. So if you just kind of on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, just kind of like follow along. Every Friday, you're just going to be hit with a new song up until our official full-length release date, which will be September 12th.
Hell yeah.
So we're not letting you forget on Thursday.
Hell yeah, dude. No, man, and you're onto something with that. Fucking Lot of Spute.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of doing that with their new record. I was listening to some of their new music and I realized like they've released 9 of the 14 songs already. So if Lot of Spute's doing it, you guys are onto something fucking good with that shit. So check them out. And I was listening to it. I think some of the shit that's already out, you guys are gonna really fucking like. So go check it out. All right, Ian. Thank you for coming on, man. This was a great interview.
Oh yeah, dude. I appreciate it, man, so much.
Yeah, man. Of course.